Last night saw a very, very eventful NFL draft, and it looked as though it could have gone such a different way for the Philadelphia Eagles. Somehow, someway, CeeDee Lamb was on the clock, just dangling over the salivating mouth of General Manager Howie. That was until Jerry Jones waltzed along and snatched him from their grasp. They didn't even need a wide receiver that much, but they did it really just to spite the Eagles, and I think to nullify the effect of Darius Slay, because now all of a sudden, instead of Slay taking away Amari Cooper, your CB2 is going to be exploited. So what did Howie Roseman do? Did he fight fire with fire? Did he go out and get another cornerback and try to match up with Jerry Jones? He stuck to his plan, and he got his guy that he wanted all along. And some people see this as a reach. I'm here to tell you why Jalen Reagor is the perfect fit for the Eagles at pick 21. Before we get into this video, guys, a couple of quick things. First of all, a massive thank you to anyone who tuned in to our live stream. We had over 8,000 of you in total last night, which is absolutely unbelievable. At the time of recording this video, I've not slept. I've written 2 articles, finished up the 6-hour live stream. It is now 7:14 AM and I can't sleep. I'm too hyped about this pick, so excuse my appearance and the dodgy man bun. But you guys are genuinely incredible. It blows our mind. We are so lucky to have you. We will be live streaming again a little bit later this afternoon. So 6 PM Eastern, we'll be streaming live here on our YouTube channel. NFL Draft will start at 7 and we'll be covering the whole damn show. So make sure you stick around, grab some snacks, grab some beer, and enjoy the show with us, because last night was honestly the best live stream we've ever had. I loved every second of it. I can't wait to see you there. Second of all, if you could hit that like button, drop your comments on Jalen Reagor down below with your opinions, and subscribe to the channel. We want to build a thriving community, and we would love for you to be a part of it. We're this close to 20,000 subscribers, and we'd love for you to be part of our 20K club. Okay, so let's break this down, okay? Part 1, you wanted speed. Alright, you wanted speed. Eagles fans all off season long wanted speed. It was speed this, it was speed that, it was Henry Ruggs speed, KJ Hamler speed. It doesn't matter what kind of speed. You wanted speed, you got speed, okay? Jalen Reagor is not a slouch. Now, yes, he did have a disappointing combine, and yes, that probably hurt his draft stock, but he ran a 4.22 at the virtual pro day, and whether or not we want to say that time's legitimate, maybe it's closer to a 4.3, we don't know. He's not a slouch. He's a quick receiver, and it shows on tape. The guy is a legitimate deep threat, which is all we really wanted for Carson Wentz, right? It doesn't matter what shape or form it came in. Someone to take the top of a defense, to get deep down the field and catch those bombs that Carson Wentz is so deadly accurate at slinging. Surely that's all you wanted, right? Now, 4 of Jalen Reagor's 5 touchdowns last year came on receptions of 20+ yards. If that doesn't scream deep threat, I don't know what does. He also caught 8 of those 20+ yards targets for 294 yards as well. Why am I bringing this up? Well, believe it or not, Carson Wentz ranked 9th last year when it came to the NFL's deep accuracy stat, completing 51.92% of his passes. Why is that important? Well, last year, he didn't have a deep threat. He just didn't. His deep threat was Matt Collins for a bit, and then a Greg Ward, and then Shelton Gibson got a PI, so that was good. There were no deep threats, okay? So what you get is a receiver that's 5'11", let's say can run a 4.3 on average, if we're being generous, caught 4 of 5 touchdowns of 20+ passing yards. Carson Wentz, who despite having me as a wide receiver, able to rank 9th in the NFL's deep passing metric. You can't add 2 and 2 together and get 17, okay? This is a dream fit in terms of what the Eagles want to run. Talking of the number 4, that number in itself is very important. You may remember that before the draft, I put out a wide receiver ranking video. I wanted to try and do something different like we did with running backs last year, where we look at wide receivers through the lens of traits the Eagles covet, and only judge by those traits. And I had Jalen Reagor, my 4th ranked wide receiver. And where did he go off the board? Number 4. So much for internet scouts, Adam Kaplan. Outside of Ruggs, Judy, and Lamb, Reagor for me was the perfect fit for the Eagles. I don't think this is a reach at all. Right. Next point, versatility. The Eagles are going to need to replace Deshaun Jackson at some point in the future. We all know that. Unfortunately, that's just the way of life, and Reagor is probably the natural heir to the throne. That's the way the Eagles do things. They build through the draft. You bring in a player that's very young, you have a free agent stopgap until that player is ready to take over that throne, and then away you go. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But if there's one thing the Eagles missed last year, it's the return game. Darren Sproles is now retiring, Corey Clement couldn't catch a punt, and Deshaun Jackson, their primary returner, missed the entire season bar 1 and a bit games with injury. That important? Well, Jalen Reagor was used in punt returns heavily during his time at TCU. Only did he have 35 rushing attempts for 324 yards, but he had 23 punt returns and 13 kick returns. In fact, he was one of only 2 players in the entire FBS to have 2 punt return touchdown. He ranked 2nd in the nation with a 20.8 yard punt return average, and he broke the previous TCU record, of 20.4, which was set way back in 1969. I guess you could say he leapfrogged. Never mind. So let's just say for a second that the Eagles do lose to Sean Jackson next year. You've now got someone that is not only valuable on returns, but has a lot of experience in terms of sweeps, swings, and everything else. And I swear, if it means I never see Alshon Jeffrey catch a screen pass again, I am more than happy with it. This is someone that can actually make the most of the blocking that's lay ahead of him, not just fall over. Thirdly, this one is very, 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 very important. The double dip, okay? If the Eagles went for Justin Jefferson at pick number 21, something I think we all talked ourselves into at one point or another, there would have been a problem. And the problem is that if they were going to double dip at wide receiver, like so many of us wanted to see, they kind of can't. Because when you get to rounds 2 and beyond, most of the guys there outside of a T. Higgins and maybe a Brian Edwards are just slot guys. I mean, Brandon Ayuk, KJ Hamler, Duvernay, Davis, Quentin Cephas, like there are so many names to mention that are valuable slot receivers. If the Eagles were going to take a receiver in round 1 and then another in round 3 and 4, you're just going to overstack on slot receivers. And you're forgetting that Deshaun Jackson, who played 43% of his snap counts in the slot in 2018 and scored a touchdown from the slot for the Eagles last year, can play in the middle. Taking Reagor gives you that versatility to move both of those guys around and present matchup nightmares. Overstacking on short slot receivers doesn't. The other thing I wanted to mention as well is the character of Jalen Reagor. Now, he does have a lot to account for. He's not perfect. There was a significant drop in production last year, and drops are a key attribute of his game that unfortunately go hand in hand with that. Now, whether you want to go into PFF stats or not, for this bit, I don't really care. What I do want to focus on is his reaction. He went from being a bona fide star in 2018 to just a guy in 2019, and that was a significant drop, and it did impact his draft stock to a degree. In 2018, he had 1,061 yards, and in 2019, it didn't go well. 611 yards to be exact, because Michael Collins wasn't around and Sean Robinson transferred, leaving him with a quarterback that had 15 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and a 53% completion percentage. Brilliant. But Reagor saw the bigger picture. Here is a quote I want to read out to you from the interview he gave reporters shortly after he was drafted. I mean, it was just a learning experience. I feel like it just gave me a chance to show what type of real teammate, real person I am. I mean, it was tough, but it was something I wouldn't make an excuse for. It was just something, you know, that's how the game goes sometimes. I feel like it made me a better player, a better person, and a better teammate. Now let's compare that to the Olshonymous sources that came out, to Orlando Scandrick, to Nelson Aguilar seemingly giving up on plays. You've got a player here that was almost a bona fide star in 2018, production cut in half due to a quarterback change, and he's trying to lift the guy around him? And he's not going to the media, and he's not going to sources, and he's not putting stuff out. He's trying to see the bigger picture and be selfless about it and be a better teammate. And that, to me, is very Jordan Matthews, who just so happened to arrive at OTAs a week before everyone else with Carson Wentz the year he was drafted to get a workout in. They needed a big character guy. After the season they had of the locker room falling apart from Olshon to Orlando Scandrick and everything in between, they needed a receiver to grow with Carson Wentz, who would click with Carson Wentz, and Jalen Reagor is that guy. Now we'll get to the on-field stuff in a film breakdown that's coming a little bit later this week after the draft settles, but I hope this has given you a bit more insight into why I genuinely believe with all my heart he is the guy at 21. That is a great pick. I would much rather have had Reagor over Jefferson. I'll stand by that. My rankings say exactly the same, and hopefully what I've just told you will make you feel a little bit better about it as well. But let me know what you think down in the comments, guys. From myself, Liam Jenkins, thank you so much for all of your support. We will see you later today, 6 p.m. today, at the Philly Sports Network YouTube channel for our brand new live stream, day 2 of the NFL Draft. We'll see you there. Go Birds.